Hey everyone, what's going on? So, I was in the process of uploading this video I made on Friday. I wanted to go through and add some notes and all that, and I just really haven't had that much time. I had a band gig last night and so on, but I finally went through it and I uploaded this video. It's a lot to do with, just this deeper relationship with gematria that lots of people are not really paying attention to. And I talk about how Zach is absolutely coded to all of these events. He's connected to all of these things, like the Oklahoma City rally, now the Buffalo rally. The Super Bowl was all linked up to Zach as well. Even remember the King Soopers grocery store shooting back on 3/22, right? 3/22/21. This number associated with Skull and Bones, and then 322 days later, we got the Fred Meyer shooting at the grocery store near where Zach lived, and Zach even went to investigate it and all that. And I'm bringing this up because that King Supers one just so happened to be in Boulder, Colorado, where the University of Colorado is, and the University of Colorado is the Buffalo, right? And then we got that Fred Meyer shooting that Zach went to, and that shooting happened on Matt Stafford's birthday. And then if you look up Fred Meyer, it was actually founded on Joe Burrow's birthday, both the quarterbacks that are in the Super Bowl. And then, that Super Bowl was all linked up to Oklahoma City. Zach Taylor was from Oklahoma. Boomer Esiason, his real name's Norman, like Norman, Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner. The coach of the Rams was Sean McVay. And remember, they had that thing about his buff dad being named Tim McVay just before the Super Bowl. And then they kind of influenced Zach to want to start this OKC rally by that Texas hostage story. So they have the Oklahoma City rally. And turns out that Timothy McVeigh is actually from Buffalo. Then the next big shooting is in Buffalo at a grocery store. And of course, Buffalo is where Tim Russert is from. Tim Russert connected to Skull and Bones with John Kerry and George Bush. And the day that Zach decides to go to Buffalo, all linked up by the numbers, but it also just so happens to be the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills' birthday. So all these things are linked up to these quarterbacks in the NFL, for one. And then it's linked back to Buffalo, linked up to Skull and Bones, and believe it or not, Alfonso Taft, one of the co-founders of Skull and Bones, actually died on May 21st, the day that, he decides to go to Buffalo and so on. And a whole lot more. Yesterday I even had synchronicity at work. I went to work thinking about this buffalo symbolism, and my coworker was wearing a shirt that said Wrangler with a buffalo on it. I've never seen her wear this shirt ever. Let's see if I even have my blog post pulled up here, but I've never seen her wear this shirt before. And I even pointed out, I said, it's crazy you're wearing a shirt with a buffalo. I've been watching this day for buffalo symbolism, and I didn't want to take a picture of her boobs, but so I didn't ask to get a picture. But after she left, I got on my phone because I got this notification about my Facebook memories. And apparently, the top one, 6 years ago, my band played a show at the bar called the Buffalo Club on the same day. What are the odds of that, Of course, the Buffalo Club equals 322. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on here. But my coworker, her birthday is the same day as John Kerry's birthday. And this is something I've actually been talking about for the last 8 months, or back in September when I had synchronicity with her and Iggy Azalea. But, John Kerry's also from Aurora, Colorado, where the Batman shooting was. And it gets real deep here, but I'm going to skip over all this. The point of making this video, because I really need to go to bed here, but while I was uploading this video, and I still haven't even uploaded it, but it's uploading, but it was long and it took a while, so I was like, I'm going to go and watch the live stream from today in Buffalo. And what's interesting is that today in Buffalo, Vice News was there, right? And remember, Vice News is they wrote a news article on Zach here back in 2017 on Joe Biden's birthday. about how he was a wacko YouTuber. And, they talked about how he pointed out all the 52 stuff with the World Series and the Astros and so on. And such as, how Houston flooded on, what was it? Or the hurricane hit or Houston flooded on August 27th. I can't remember what it was, but August 27th had a date numerology of 52, and it's also the 239th day of the year. The 52nd prime is 239. Then, Hurricane Harvey, the word hurricane equals 52, the word flood equals 52, Harvey equals 52. And then the first pitcher to pitch against Houston that year, right after Hurricane Harvey in Houston, was Matt Harvey, and that was 52 days before the World Series began that year, right? And oddly enough, the guy who wrote this article, Sean Newell, in Gematria, his name just so happens to equal 52. What are the odds? His name 52. But I just thought that was really odd. I was like, what are the chances that Vice News, I know they're from New York City, but still, it's like they weren't there yesterday. And what are the chances they just so happen to show up to this live stream, today, right? Of all days, what are the chances that they are there? And Zach even talked to him or whatever. Tried to talk to that one lady. I'm not too far into the video. Well, I'm actually 52 minutes into the video even. Unbelievable. I didn't even notice I took the picture there. How hilarious, dude. That's craziness. And 52 too, like 522. That's fucking insane. And what's even funnier is a lot of the previous video has to do with the number 33. And then the video's 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 30 seconds long. 333, huh? But man, I can't believe I can't believe I didn't even notice that. But wow. Anyway, this whole video is gonna be about 52, right? So this guy, he writes the Vice News article about all the stuff with 52 and the rigged World Series and so on, and it all had to do with, Matt Harvey and Hurricane Harvey. And I was like, I wonder if the Astros played today. So I looked up the Houston Astros. Of course, they beat the Texas Rangers with a score of 5-2 today. And in Gematria, Texas Rangers equals 52. And it also stands out to me even more because we recently, on May 17th, got the news that Matt Harvey was suspended for 60 games because he gave drugs to Tyler Skaggs. Remember in 2019, Tyler Skaggs was found dead just before his Los Angeles Angels team was going to play the Texas Rangers, right? And this, of course, ties back into George Bush and Skull and Bones, right? Because George Bush used to be part owner of the Texas Rangers, and he has a bunch of ties to Houston as well, even pitched in the 2017 World Series, the one that the Vice News article was talking about. Him and his dad went out and he threw the first pitch or whatever, right? I can't remember what game, maybe game 5. So he has, and Barbara Bush died in Houston, and also George H.W. Bush died in Houston. And they died 7 months and 13 days apart, and the Houston area code just so happens to be 713. And a whole bunch more because 713 was also Tyler Skaggs' birthday, and he died on July 1st, 7/1/2019. If you reduce down 2019, it becomes a 3, right? 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9, which is whatever, 2, 3, 9 is 12, and then 1 plus 2 is 3, right? So 7, 1, and 3. And, I can't remember it all. I'll talk about it here in a second. A whole bunch of other 713 stuff with him. Right after he died, there was the Angels, his former team. They had the first no-hitter in California since his birthday in 1991. And then on August 3rd, I think it was, the Houston Astros also no-hit the Mariners, so it was connected to Houston and the Houston area code being 713. And the Angels also in that no-hitter, they had 7 runs in the first inning and then a total of 13 runs, like 713. A big tribute to Tyler Skaggs and also to the, Houston. But what's even funnier is that if you look up Matt Harvey, his birthday is March 27th, and he got suspended on May 17th. So he got suspended a span of 52 days after his birthday, even. What are the odds he gets suspended 52 days after his birthday? He's connected to this big number 52. The same day that he was suspended, the Texas Rangers even played the Los Angeles Angels, right? Tyler Skaggs' old team. The team that Matt Harvey played with Tyler Skaggs on. They play the Texas Rangers. He dies just before the Angels play the Texas Rangers. Today just so happens to be 52 days before what would have been Tyler Skaggs' birthday, too. 52 days. And, think about George Bush, too, in relation to president, right? The word president equals 52. White House equals 52. Government, 52. Kabbalah, 52, right? Gematria, 52. Was a big reason why Pope Francis came to the United States, and he went to the White House on 23/9 in 2015, because that was the 52nd prime number, and White House 52, Pope 52, President 52. Remember, Joe Biden also followed Pope Francis around like crazy, and Joe Biden was the vice president at that time. Think about Vice News, so I don't know. It's not necessarily connected to this, but it's interesting, that he was the vice president. And then when you think about all the connections in my previous video, I'm talking about, how William McKinley was assassinated in Buffalo at the World's Fair. And this really sticks out because when Tyler Skaggs died, it was really linked up to the movie Angels in the Outfield that came out in 1994. Which was the same year as the MLB strike. And the Montreal Expos were the team with the best record that year. And everyone thought they were going to go to the World Series. And then they had the strike, and then they didn't get to go to the World Series. And then in 2019, after Tyler Skaggs died, the Washington Nationals went on to win the World Series. And the Washington Nationals used to be the Montreal Expos. So there's a huge relationship here. And I know that it's further connected to this because Matt Harvey's nickname is the Dark Knight. Like the Dark Knight, Batman, and so on. And his birthday is the 86th day of the year. And if you've been following what I've been talking about with August 6th this year, it has a lot to do with Batman and the number 86, such as Bane equaled 86, and Aurora, Colorado equals 86, and James Egan Holmes, I think, equals 86, and I can't remember them all. Christian Bale equals 86, the Batman in that movie. Remember, in that Batman movie, before they blow up the football stadium, they flashed the number 322 even, right? And I even went to the midnight showing of that movie with my friend Chris Sturgill, whose name equals 86, and also with my friend Norm, whose name actually comes from Norman, Oklahoma, because his dad lives in Norman, Oklahoma, and he's a big Oklahoma Sooners fan. Of course, Norm equals 86, and his real name, Joel McCall, equals 86. And, this is crazy, but there's a lot to do with Batman and this date, August 6th, and a lot of August 6th is Tisha B'Av, and remember in 2019, after Tyler Skaggs died, that was that big Tisha B'Av event that we were following, right? And it was synced up to Slipknot playing at the Iowa State Fair, where Donald Trump also said that he was Batman in 2015. So Donald Trump said he was Batman. There's all this fair symbolism. China was even hosting the World's Fair that year, and I've been talking about that all year, how China was important leading up to the Tisha B'Av event because they were hosting the World's Fair, and then you had Slipknot and the Iowa State Fair was all important to this symbolism that I was following with it. And then the biggest event on August 11th, Tisha B'Av, just so happened to be the Hong Kong riots in China, right? So, and then that Washington Nationals, who used to be the Expo, and Expo was a fair, went on to win the World Series. It was all about this fair symbolism, but, think about Matt Harvey and Batman, Donald Trump saying he was Batman. Plus, Batman's great-grandfather supposedly founded Skull and Bones. That actually comes in the 33rd episode of Batman on the TV series, too. And once again, go back and watch this previous video I put out. Has a lot to do with the number 33. Also, Donald Trump went to one of the World Series games when the Nationals won the World Series that year over the Astros. And in the CNN article, if you go to my blog post, the story told us about how when they had like a presidential race at the Nationals games, and the guy dressed up like Teddy Roosevelt won, and Donald Trump didn't cheer for him, which just seems weird to even put in the story, right? But Teddy Roosevelt was the president who replaced William McKinley after he got assassinated in Buffalo, right, at the fair in Buffalo, the World's Fair. So I don't think that's, an accident. I think there's something important to that. Plus, I recently talked about Tony Danza too. I'm going to skip over this, but Tony Danza's in Angels in the Outfield. And I'm just thinking about Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's in The Dark Knight Rises, and he's also, stars in Angels in the Outfield. Today is also 152 days, a span before Kamala Harris's birthday, the vice president. And, Joe Biden's 152, Kamala Devi Harris 152. All kinds of stuff. The gematria effect equals 152. That Simpsons episode with Lisa being the president, that came out on March 19th, which was 152 days after Kamala Harris's birthday, I believe. And on Inauguration Day, Kamala Harris wore that purple dress that looked like the Lisa Simpson episode. And that dress was designed by some guy from Baton Rouge, and Baton Rouge equals 152. And if you read out Vice News and the Francis Bacon ciphers, it equals 152 as well, which is interesting. And although they do stylize it with a capital, all capitals in the word vice, so it wouldn't be this. But I've seen all over, like in tons of articles, they don't write it with capital letters. They just write it like this. So, possibly a stretch with this, but still interesting to me. It's also interesting that Vice News, before there was Vice News, there was Vice, the magazine, and it was founded in Montreal in 1994, right? The same year that the Montreal Expos were having a great season before the MLB strike, which is the same year that the movie Angels in the Outfield came out. It's also the same year that the movie The Lion King came out. And that's why in 2019, they remade The Lion King just before the Tisha B'Av event that had all to do with World Lion Day and a lot of the lion symbolism that was going on. So, plus Obama, right, said that he was the Lion King when he made fun of Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' thing. Further, the Los Angeles Angels are playing Houston on the anniversary of Tyler Skaggs dying this year. And then they're playing them again on the anniversary of Tyler Skaggs' birthday. So they're playing Houston on his death day and his birthday. Also, in relation to Zach, if you go 52 days after Zach's birthday, it takes you to 9/11, right? And yesterday, 5/21, is even a span of 3 months and 22 days before 9/11. Think about George Bush, Skull and Bones, so on, right? All these connections. But I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I also talked about Zach's first ever blog post in the last video. And it's interesting because his first ever blog post, he actually puts in this picture from the Vice magazine from 1994, right? So that was the year they were founded, but then they also have this picture of Beavis and Butthead flying airplanes around the World Trade Center, right? In 1994, the same year that I'm talking about, connected to Montreal and so on, and the World Fair symbolism. And it's interesting, he even talks about Oklahoma City here, and like Tom McVeigh or Tim McVeigh, and then that story of Tom McVeigh that came out. So 52 days before 9/11. But the 2017 World Series began on the same day that Zach's first ever blog post was created. That's what I knew I was missing something there. So his first ever blog post was made on 10/24, and 10/24 is the day that the World Series began in 2017 that Vice News was connected to with Zach, right? So then the 1994 issue, man, it's stupidly synced up to what I was talking about in 2019. Think about how September 11th is linked up to Tisha B'Av, right? So once again, I'm still following them days, August 6th, August 10th, and August 11th. There's seems to be something very connected to them, but... And this is the type of stuff I'm talking about, though. This is why we need to pay attention to the things that are going on around us. Because look at all these things I discovered off of just following this random pattern. And it's not that I don't... it's obvious there's something, greater going on. And it's just a lot of times people are connecting things that don't necessarily have any rhyme or reason to be connected. They're just taking random things and they're not understanding a real narrative that exists with, why they're saying a certain number means something, right? Like, it makes sense with Batman because in the 33rd episode of Batman, they say that his great-grandfather, whatever it is the founder of Skull and Bones. And then literally in The Dark Knight Rises, they show the 322 before they blow up the football stadium. And a number of other things, they have this connection, right? And a lot of times, Zach makes very concrete connections to things, right? I agree. But like all the stuff he's talking about with racism and O.J. Simpson and Buffalo and the numbers 63 and 74 in this video, it makes tons of sense. There's a real narrative there. The thing that I'm talking about that him and lots of other people do because they follow him is something like when Fred Ward died, right? So Fred Ward died at the age of 79, and his name equals 79. So where's this connection to the Jesuits? Just because he died at the age of 79 and Society of Jesus equals 79? There's no real narrative that exists to connect it to that, I connected it to the Mandela effect theme that I was following. And sure, you can connect it to the Society of Jesus, but it doesn't necessarily prove that they're responsible for his death. You know what I'm saying? There's no real proof. Same with writing the word murder. Yeah, murder equals 79. So every time someone dies age 79, they got murdered? There's no real proof that they got murdered just because murder equals 79. See what I'm saying? If you'd have died at age 78 or whatever, then it wouldn't have been a murder anymore because murder doesn't equal that. So you can't write that in there. It doesn't seem to make that much sense to write the word murder unless you're just going off the belief that, because of murder by numbers, that everybody who dies age 79 got murdered. Or same with all these rappers who die at the age of 38. Yeah, there's a definite pattern of this going on, and the word death does equal 38. There's also tons of rappers who don't die at the age of 38. And they don't die into that connection of the word death, And if the story was about the rapper being murdered, which is often the case, it would make sense to write the word murder in there. But oftentimes they don't really tell us. So then you have to just assume that they got murdered. And that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? Or this guy, he died on, May 8th, which is 5/8 or 8/5. So you just write on the Jesuit motto. It's what? What does that how is that proof that it was the Jesuit motto because he died on May 8th? It doesn't make that much sense. And I'm honestly surprised he didn't write Freemasonry, because that's what he would have used to have done. Years ago he would have wrote Freemasonry because Freemasonry equals 58. It's you have to understand what I'm saying with this. There's lots of good decodes, but then these ones just drive me crazy. Because then you get everybody who starts, they just see a random story, they see a 79, and they just go, oh, that was Society of Jesus, when it could have been connected to countless other things that are going on, if you pay enough attention. You know what I mean? like when I decoded the death of Fred Ward, it made sense because I have for years, since 2019, I've been talking about the movie Time Rider, The Adventures of Lyle Swan that he stars in, and how it was connected to the Kentucky Derby and this theme with Nelson Mandela that I was following, right? So when he died at the age of 79 on the 128th day of the year, and I saw that the Mandela effect equals 79 and 128, it makes perfect sense that he would die at the age of 79 and his name equals 79. There's a narrative that exists with it. And sure, you can say that, every media story is connected to the Jesuits, but that's really just a belief. And you can also say that because, there is a narrative, I guess, technically, but that narrative isn't necessarily proof that they're be responsible for it. Just like the narrative that I'm following isn't necessarily proof that, the Mandela effect is causing it or whatever, right? It's like a foundation to understand the pattern. I mean, I hope that makes sense to people. It's just like there needs to be like a real narrative. We can't just every time we see somebody die at age 79 write murder and write Society of Jesus. There has to be like a real concrete reason to be writing that. And sure, there is a pattern that exists all over. We keep seeing 56s and 201s and whatever else. But and they are probably connected to the Jesuits at some level, but there's also a million other things that they can be connected to, and people just aren't aware of this. I feel like people are just so stuck on this like smaller level, and they're not getting this deeper understanding with using gematria, and they're just blaming every single thing on a cabal, and they're not not learning more, and everything that goes on, including going to Buffalo, going to Oklahoma City, whatever, it's all happening by a code. And really, we're not going to fix the world if everything we do is coded. Isn't that the real issue? Is that the world has, things exist this way. So we either need to figure out if we're being manipulated, or we need to figure out if it all just is fate. And if it's all just fate, then we got a way bigger problem on our hands, right? Like if even the people purposely coding stories, that's all supposed to happen, then, there's just so much more to learn. And I feel like people get held back by this, that's all. And once again, I'm not trying to like cause problems. I've got to this different level of understanding, and I want more people to get to it. It's kind of like, how most people feel about people who aren't awake in their life, like, and you get frustrated at people because they're not, they can't understand what you're saying, or they're just not at that same level. And, I don't want people, I'm just trying to help people, and guide them to, possibly to just to raise their understanding of this. So hopefully that makes sense, but I really need to go to bed. Have a good one. Peace. So real quick too, I never finished the video here this video. It's now Tuesday, May 24th, but when I was at work today, I noticed that Zach now has this video about how there's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers thing at the Buffalo Memorial. And he also put it out how there's this Los Angeles Angels sweater there. And it's like, what are the odds to this same thing that I'm talking about with Tyler Skaggs, the Los Angeles Angel player, and also, Matt Harvey, who was the Angel who just got suspended for giving Tyler Skaggs drugs and whatever, right? The Los Angeles Angel thing here. And Tampa Bay is really interesting to Los Angeles too, because remember, on Matt Stafford's 33rd birthday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl 55 last year in 2021, right? Right after Zach got bear sprayed all by the number 33, and then, how this OKC rally is all synced up to the number 33. And further yet, we have Angel Baby, who has been here this whole time, holding the camera for Zach and everything else. Think about her name, Angel Baby. And of course, in gematria, Angel Baby also equals 33. OKC rally, 33 days before the Buffalo rally and a whole bunch more. Or before Zach went to Buffalo and so on. So, just what are the odds? Angel Baby, and then she has synchronicity at the anchor bar. I'm telling you, all of this stuff is supposed to happen. And none of this would have happened if the people in power wouldn't have made this story about Buffalo and made this happen, right? So once again, you really have to think deep about this. Even the people who are, manipulating the news and coding the news by the numbers, if they didn't do that, then this synchronicity wouldn't have happened. And I guarantee that this synchronicity has a lot more to teach you and understand. I don't know all the details of her life or whatever, but I'm telling you, it happened for a reason, and that reason wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't have purposely coded this Buffalo story. Like, everything is, meant to be. It's weird. I know it's hard to understand, but it's what are the odds? Angel Baby has synchronicity there. Then they got the Los Angeles Angels thing, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Remember, Zach's channel got a strike on Matt Stafford's birthday that year, too, and Matt Stafford is also from Tampa Bay. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl on his 33rd birthday last year. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers also equal 170 in Francis Bacon. Let me just put the base ciphers in here and add the Francis Bacon ciphers in here really quick. And then I have to go to band practice here. I should have left a little bit ago, but I'm going to try to upload this video really quick. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers just so happens to equal, let's put 170, right? And Tom Brady equals 170 at the Francis Bacon ciphers. And Zach's full name equals 170. And just before the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, we had that stuff about Sweet Lady, and Sweet Lady equals 33. Then they did the Myanmar coup, and she's from Myanmar. And that was 170 days before Zach's birthday, or after, one or the other. And, the lady that got overthrown, her name, she was born on the 170th day of the year. And, Zach got bear sprayed like Brian Sicknick at the U.S. Capitol thing that was synced up to Seattle in the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone that had the umbrella logo. And Zach got bear sprayed 170 days after Brian Sicknick's birthday, and Brian Sicknick got bear sprayed 170 days after Zach's birthday. Of course, Zach also born on the day that Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, and the word moon in Jewish gematria equals 170. So, and his book, that bear spray incident was all about his book and how Amazon released it 3 months and 3 days before he got bear sprayed on the 16th day of the year in Portland that year, right? But 1013 is the 170th prime number. And number games equals 170. Everything, no matter, it doesn't mean Zach's doing this, but it's all by a code, right? We need to figure out the matrix before we can really solve the issues in the world, right? That's all. Like I said, I'm all for doing these rallies and opening people's minds and whatever, but there's a bigger issue here, there's a bigger thing. I don't know how to solve it, but I just want more people to think about it, right? So, we'll pay attention to the Los Angeles Angels. There's got to be something important to the Los Angeles Angels or to that theme, But especially with the Nationals being important to the William McKinley being assassinated. But look, I'm just going to rewind this video to show you what I'm talking about here. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers thing here that he was talking about. And, Tampa Bay really synced up to him. It's so interesting. On Matt Stafford's birthday, this Buffalo rally began on Josh Allen's birthday. Josh Allen equals 33. That Fred Meyer shooting, the grocery store shooting, that store opened in Portland, Oregon, where Zach is originally from, on Joe Burrow's birthday. And, of course, the year before, Zach was in Louisiana educating about Joe Burrow and LSU and the Tiger symbolism, and Tampa Bay won, all synced to the Tiger symbolism, so I'll have to think more on this, but I have to go. I don't have time to. Should have left like 10 minutes ago, but I really wanted to get these 2 videos put out so I can hopefully it'll be uploaded by later tonight, but have a good one. Peace.